Alrighty, we're here for round 3 of Grand Prix Mirage Expo up against Epid on Mono Black Control. Both of us are 2-0, so this is a top cut qualifier match. The winner of this match guaranteed makes the top cut. We win the die roll, that's a good sign. And opening hand here is 2 lands, for an encounter, 2 Fabricated Anomalies, a Spirit Realm Phoenix, and a Frolicking Tatsuko. This is a gamble. If we never find the third land, we are stuck with a handful of Shash that we can never play. So here's my thinking. My opponent's deck does not have a lot of targeted removal. They have 4 Final Fates, they have Omen of Slaughters, which can edict something, and then they have Damned to Hells, which are very mana intensive, and we're going to have a lot of games where they're under pressure to not be able to get to Damned to Hell quickly. I'm in on trying to just slam a turn 2 Tatsuko and turn that into like a turn 3 foreign encounter. I'll keep 7. This is definitely risky, but I think we can convert this into something meaningful. So we will start off main 1, Mountain and Pass. Not too tragic to be spending turn 1 doing nothing. We have 8 1-drops. We could theoretically cycle the foreign encounter. I think I am going to respond and cycle foreign encounter, because this is the only valid hit in our hand. So opponent is dressing. If we hit another foreign encounter here, that's just really unfortunate. Opponent says, sure, and we're going to reveal them a hand of no non-creature, non-land cards. Duress very bad against us, generally. So we fade their Duress, and now we can debate between Frolicking Tatsuko or Kirin of Boons. I think I'm in on the Tatsuko. We pick up a 1-drop, unfortunately, with Ignited Soul. So I'm just going to lead on Tatsuko. It is the highest impact card here in the blind. We don't have anything that immediately gets counters on either of these. We could theoretically top deck a land and then Fabricated Anomaly loots a creature from our hand into our graveyard, and then Kirin of Boons could pick up a counter that way. But I think I just like going for this line. And I'm going to keep the hand open just because I want to be able to see what my opponent knows about our hand. So, Frolicking Tatsuko in play. Opponent does have 2-drop removal that can pick this off. Final Fate does take care of it. Ominous Slaughter does take care of it. Ignited Soul is relevant with Ominous Slaughter. And because of Ominous Slaughter, I'm kind of sitting here hoping my opponent goes for Final Fate here. We'd rather Ominous Slaughter be the removal they're kind of holding on to, so that way our 1-drops can sort of soak up the edicts later on into the game. Really banking on a land draw here. Opponent is going to Exorcist of Errors here. I think I'm game to just reveal everything they know about and let them debate whether or not it's worth just taking a known quantity versus taking the unknown. Yeah, let's just reveal the known quantity. Play face down. I did do a little bit of practice playtesting with this deck, and this was generally where I landed on piling for Exorcist of Errors, was because they have hand attack. If they know my hand, I'm always showing them only the cards they already know about. Specifically for sequences like this where they go turn 1 Duress, turn 2 Exorcist of Errors, and they have to gamble on what I might have in my hand here with, in this instance, it being Ignited Soul. I think I'm thrilled if my opponent takes Ignited Soul here on the Exorcist of Errors. This is not a super relevant card at the moment, but we are in a bit of an awkward spot. We really do need to find that third land. And this can't hit lands, so one of the things my opponent has to think is, if this is a land, do they take the gamble of looking at this land, confirming it's a land, and knowing that we have a 3-drop coming? They're taking Kieran of Boons. Alrighty. That seems reasonable. You know, if we don't have the third land, Kieran is the only playable thing they know about. I'm going to keep it. I'm going to hide it here because it's not technically in our hand right now. We're going to untap. We're going to draw. We pick up the Temple of Origin, so that is the land here. Now we do have an interesting choice. I don't know if we want to swing sideways with the Frolicking Tatsuko here. We definitely play the Temple. So we could run out the Fabricated Anomaly, just get the ball rolling on that. We could try and go for Ignited Soul, go for Spirit Realm Phoenix. There's a world where we run out the Ignited Soul last turn, and then Fabricated Anomaly gets to make it a 2/2 swinging in here. But I think we go Fabricated Anomaly and accept not getting in here with the Tatsuko on the basis that the opponent blocking here is much better for them than it is for us. We don't want their creatures to be removal for our creatures. So we're going to go Fabricated Anomaly here. We'll make a Puzzle Box token, and we are simply going to pass it on along to the opponent. I am a little tempted to loot away the second Fabricated Anomaly with the Puzzle Box, but I'm going to loot the Ignited Soul instead. Because the second Fabricated Anomaly in hand lets us tune up for multiple Puzzle Box tokens, which can fill our graveyard faster. Opponent taps 2, Final Fate, Omen of Slaughter. Which one is it? I think either Final Fate or Omen of Slaughter is picking off Frolicking Tatsuko here. I am never feeding the Fabricated Anomaly to an Omen of Slaughter. Passed Unresolved. Little scary to see our opponent getting more cards, but at the same time, it is good to see our opponent damaging themselves and not progressing the board state, not fighting the board state right now. Feels very secure to see this being what happens. So the opponent passed Unresolved. They take 2. They mill a Duress. They mill a Swamp. End of our opponent's turn. I'm going to loot the Ignited Soul. Pick up a foreign encounter. That could be the play here next turn. I think it is going to be the play next turn. So we're going to untap. We're going to draw. Pick up another Frolicking Tatsuko. Let's jam the foreign encounter. Opponent does not have 1 mana instants. They could, all that remains if it was in their graveyard, but all that remains is not currently in their graveyard. So we're going to view top 6. Urban Jungle, Calamity Cat, Temple of Origins, Urban Jungle, Kieran of Boons, and Menelea, Beloved Lyrist. Kieran of Boons is really relevant in this matchup for a lot of different reasons. Menelea is also pretty good. Does stop 2 of their 3 primary forms of removal. Menelea allows us to get in with both of our creatures this turn at the cost of not being able to get a Fabricated Anomaly trigger this turn. But I think that's a fine enough cost to pay, and we can even loot away the Spirit Realm Phoenix to Puzzle Box to try and find an untapped land to hold up a Menelea activation. So I think, as much as it would be nice to Kieran of Boons and threaten to just shut off Exorcist as a blocker, I'm going to go for Menelea here. So we ship these to the bottom. We're going to put counters on both of the creatures besides Menelea. So now we're going to tap it, discard the Spirit Realm Phoenix, draw a card. We do not find the land, but we do pick up an Igneous Vision, so that's something we could cycle to more puzzle boxes moving forward. We're going to go to combat. Turn sideways. We could consider eating something to get 2 more counters. Oh, yes. Opponent is pointing out Menelaya should have 2 counters on her as well. Because that is how foreign encounter works. Tatsuko into foreign encounter with Menelaya in the deck is just so good. Opponent just realizing why Menelaya gets the 2 counters. Tatsuko is such a good card, especially with foreign encounter. So we'll see how opponent wants to evaluate this. Is it worth giving us the Kieran of Boons to save 5 points of health here? I think the answer is no. I think there's no world where they ever give us the Kieran of Boons back, because that just invalidates future creatures. And that's why choosing the Menelaya was so tricky. Opponent takes 9. We go to end step. Spirit Realm Phoenix comes back. Because all 3 of these got counters. So they know about 1 Fabricated Anomaly. They know about the Spirit Realm Phoenix. They do not know about Frolicking Tatsuko, do not know about Igneous Visions. And they are 1 turn too slow for Damned to Hell. They pack it up. And that is the theory behind this deck. We just kill them before they can get to their good sweepers. So we're going to be on the draw here in game 2. Things we can look at bringing in. Archival Storage is irrelevant. Hungry Blob is largely irrelevant. Our opponent, they have enchantments, but I don't think we really care about what these are doing. The most important thing for Path of Phoenix in this matchup is just eating cards from our hand. And in a way, that first chapter of Path of Phoenix can actually be a huge liability against us, which is very nice. So my opponent's in an awkward spot of, like, Path of Phoenix is really awkward, Duress is really awkward, Innering's Pupil pressuring our hand can be kind of awkward. So there's a lot of things that are really not great against us. Obviously, our opponent's likely to go up on Soul Guide Lanterns, but we eat our own graveyard, so Soul Guide Lantern really only can take off an anomaly trigger or 2. And that is time we are getting to just develop onto the board uncontested. So I'm thinking about Bleeding Out. I'm thinking about Terminal Impact. Bleeding Out kills every single one of their creatures. All of their creatures have 3 toughness. Data Weaver's a 2/3, Exorcist's a 2/3, Innering's Pupil is a 3/3. So Bleeding Out, very good against all of the threats out of their deck. Terminal Impact is the other one I'm considering. It's just the burn. Every one of these matchups where we have slower opponents, I'm wanting to bring in the burn because it just gives us more momentum, more ways to recover from our opponent, making their sideboard plan be destabilize us as much as they possibly can. Then we have burn to fall back on and go, okay, well, now we just win over the top. Things we could think about cutting. Calamity Cat seems really important in this matchup, as does Ignited Soul in its own way. Anomaly is amazing. Tatsuko is amazing. Spirit Realm's Phoenix is amazing. Menelaya is pretty important. Kieran of Boons is very important in this matchup. They have 10 base creatures, likely to board in their other 2 creatures as well. And Kieran of Boons is how we get around their blockers. Foreign Encounter, Igneous Visions, and Shiori are really the loose threads here. I think I'm game to cut Shiori. There are situations where Shiori can be very nice. I don't love Shiori in the face of Final Fate. Because in worlds where we're able to hold up that activated ability, Final Fate really limits what we could actually point that spell towards, I think. Hold on, actually, Final Fate, destroy target creature. Oh, actually, we could use Shiori to blank a Final Fate. That's relevant. Maybe we board out the Igneous Visions just on the acknowledgement that like our opponent's likely to go up Soul Guide Lanterns, and taking out one of our really important things to sit in the graveyard gives us a little bit more value in the face of the opponent boarding in that form of interaction. And maybe we just go down 2 Terminal Impacts then. Terminal Impact just kind of like less damage than Bleeding Out in most of these situations where we're not getting a whole lot of lands in play. Maybe we even like still keep an Igneous Visions just board in the Bleeding Outs. I'm game for this. I think I'm game for just take out 3 Igneous Visions for 3 Bleeding Outs, and we'll see how this fares. So, opponent is going to be on the play here. Ooh, boy. This is an amazing hand if our opponent decides to open turn 1 Duress. This is a real risk to take. We can go Calamity Cat first. We could go Ignited Soul first. I kind of like going Calamity Cat first instead of Ignited Soul. Opponent mulligans to 6. I'm actually going to keep 7 here. We're just going to show off how stupid it is that this deck can thrive on a 1-lander, I think. Is this going to be fair? Probably not. This is going to be nonsense, but we're going to see how this goes. Opponent goes to 5. So yeah, we're really going to get to take advantage of the opponent going on a weird mulligan here. I'm already sitting here thinking about, I go turn 1 Calamity Cat, then my opponent goes turn 2 Exorcist of Errors. What do I show them? And I think right now, not knowing what I draw on turns 1 and 2, or just draw on turn 1, because if they go turn 2 Exorcist, I won't have my turn 2 draw yet. I think I show them Spirit Realm Phoenix, Kieran of Boons, Menelea, and then just hold the 2 Ignited Souls and make them be terrified of the Ignited Souls in hand. They keep 5. Heap Ludicon tapped. That is a good use of the turn 1. We will draw a 3rd Ignited Soul. Yeah, we are definitely going to go Calamity Cat here. Swing in for 1, and we pass. And if we never draw a second land, we're just on the Calamity Cat Ignited Soul train. We saw a lot of 2s and 3s last game. Now we're going to let the 1-drops reign supreme. 2 mana, Final Fate, kill the Calamity Cat. Sure thing. A little bit of a bummer that this is what gets taken out, in all honesty, but we can survive. And that is a mountain here. So let's go Ignited Soul, Ignited Soul. And show me 1 removal spell for both of these. Opponent plays a tapped Heap Ludicon and then ships it on over. We will untap and draw here. Pick up the 3rd mountain. There is a temptation here to go Ignited Soul, Kieran of Boons, and then just jam in. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the Ignited Soul from hand first. See if our opponent responds. Opponent says K. So that means Omen of Slaughter here does not do anything meaningful, so we're good to just kind of get in. And our damage is going to be undeterred. So go to combat. Ship in for 2. On damage, we're going to discard a Spirit Realm Phoenix to draw a card. Pick up the Frolicking Tatsuko. Ooh, we have a tough choice on this second discard. I think it might genuinely be pitching the Frolicking Tatsuko to try and dig for a green source for Menelea here. Alternatively, maybe we pitch the Kieran of Boons, because while it is the only thing that's castable in our hand, second main, the trade-off is right now our creatures get through the opponent anyhow, and Kieran on its lonesome does not get through what the opponent could have as a blocker. So this is going to look weird to anybody who is just spectating and not listening to the commentary, but I'm going to pitch the Kieran of Boons here. Pick up the second Tatsuko. That is the downside of that gamble. Took a risk. It did not pay off. Oh well. This is part of the gamble as well. We have 10 cards with green in their mana cost in the deck, and sometimes we keep a one-lander and then find only red sources. Not amazing, but it happens. There could have been an argument perhaps on not even playing the mountain there, just on the basis that our green 8 of our green sources are untapped only if we have 3 or less total lands. So I think actually playing that mountain there was a mistake. Just logistically speaking. The dream top deck here is probably Fabricated Anomaly. Because we just get to go Fabricated Anomaly, swing 3 1/1s that become 2/2s. We use the puzzle box to loot away a Tatsuko from our hand. And then we're sitting on a suite of 2/2s. And then we get to fill our graveyard with the Ignited Souls to tee up future attacks. Opponent is thinking. The upside of our opponent's creature suite being a tad on the slow side is we do have some say in how long these Ignited Souls get to be relevant. It is going to be a struggle for our opponent to punch through this particular setup. Opponent plays Swamp here. They could put a counter on one of these Heap Ludicons to make a 2/4. Oh no! My least favorite card in the format shows its ugly head. That's the worst case scenario. We draw 4th red source. Sure. Yeah, we're now in a real bad spot. We took 2 big gambles. They did not pay off. The first one was we kept a 1-lander. And hey, I mean, we've recovered from the 1 land situation. We've seen a lot more lands. We just aren't seeing. I think we saw fewer lands in game 1, which is good that we're seeing so many lands. It's less good that they're all red sources and we're sitting on a handful of green cards. And now the opponent gets to hold up Damn to Hell until the end of the time, until the end of the game. So our opponent's not going to kill us quickly, but they are going to start leveling up Heap Ludicon, so it is going to start clocking us eventually. So they have a 2/4. They swing 2. We draw Temple of Origins. Just a bit slow. And we ship on back. See, I think the nightmare scenario for me right now is my opponent targets me with Chronicle of Extinction discard mode, and then we just don't. We just have to go to game 3 because this mulligan was this opening hand was a really bad call in terms of looking at it from results oriented thinking. Opponent swings with the Ludicon here. We take 2. And they could run out Chronicle hand attack mode. Inner Rings Pupil. We untap, we draw a Fabricated Anomaly that can single-handedly start pulling us out of this pit. So Fabricated Anomaly here, we make the Puzzle Box token. I'm going to Menelea here. We're going to put a counter on both of these. We're going to go to end step. Spirit Realm Phoenix is going to return to our hand. I will say, as much as it stings to have lost the Cairn of Boons and then not gotten any value, and yeah, they're going to Final Fate the Fabricated Anomaly here. So that is unfortunate as well. Out of the graveyard. As much as it stings to have looted the Cairn of Boons on a gamble, the Chronicle of Extinction would have just killed it anyways. So in the end of where that lands us, we would have discarded a green card to play out something that we don't even get to keep. Exorcist of Errors. I'm going to respond and Puzzle Box this away. Play this face down, put this into play face up. This is a rough situation because they can just take the Tatsuko and then discard the card in hand to Inner Ring's Pupil. But I mean, this is the outcome if we reveal both cards anyways, and if we only reveal the land, this is the same outcome as well. We have to discard Mountain here, and we take 5, and we are just in a pit. We had mana issues, and mana issues took us out of this game. And not even the mana issue that was in our opening hand. We immediately drew a second land. We almost immediately drew a third land. So we haven't really missed land drops much in spite of keeping a one-lander. So yeah, the one-lander was not the problem. The problem is just that we're in a pit. So we have a choice here. We can Bleeding Out the Exorcist, play the Frolicking Tatsuko. If they swing the Inner Ring's Pupil, we can sack Menelea, block with Tatsuko. But I don't love where we're at right now. I think we have to do that. We're going to cast the Tatsuko. We're going to go to combat, and we're going to swing 2. Because we do still need to slowly start hitting them in the ways that we can. But yeah, this is almost certainly going to a game 3. Final Fate, I'm going to pack it up at a Final Fate here. That just rips us apart. Because they can they can kill both of our creatures with a single Final Fate, and then transition into swing 5, deal 7 to us. That's 12. We're at 11. So reevaluating sideboarding decisions, maybe Bleeding Out isn't even worth it over Igneous Visions. Maybe we do just want the additional value in our graveyard. It feels weird to say, like, maybe our deck is just good main board, no need for sideboard tools. Like, the burn is nice. I almost don't know if we have time for it. It felt really rough to be burning one of their creatures. Yeah, I think we're just gonna rock with the base 60. And hopefully get an opening hand that doesn't require it looking like a very bad keep. I am thinking about, the gamble that I took there on that turn where I discarded the Kieran of Boons. No outcome there would have been good because we keep the Kieran of Boons, we play it second main, and it gets lost to a Chronicle of Extinction, or we find a green source and get to play Menelea or Frolicking Tatsuko and lose that to a Chronicle of Extinction. And any configuration of those outcomes is abysmal. So, yeah, it's just rough. But now we can be mindful of the fact that our opponent's boarded in Chronicle of Extinction. Truly, without a doubt, my least favorite card in the format. Continues to terrorize me, even as I build decks that are supposed to be going to all of it. I just cannot escape the Chronicle. This is a 3-lander with Tatsuko, Menelea, Kieran of Boons. We can go Tatsuko into Menelea, holding up activation to preserve Tatsuko. Highly likely our opponent just removes, but I think we can work with this. Opponent is mulliganing. That is a good sign. Opponent keeps 6. You're going to go Primal Fissure on 1 and pass. And we're just going to crack Primal Fissure for a mountain now. We draw Urban Jungle. Well, we go Frolicking Tatsuko here and pass. If it gets removed, we're going tapped Urban Jungle, play Kieran of Boons. If it does not get removed, we're playing Mountain Menelea. Mountain Menelea has its own risks because our opponent could have Omen of Slaughter in response to Menelea on the stack, but I feel like if our opponent has Final Fate, they just sling the Final Fate now. That looks like Final Fate. Could also be an Exorcist of Errors. Could be that they're deciding between the two. Yep. Opponent taps 2, then starts, then messages letting it know that they are thinking. All good. They can take all the time they need. Untapping. So they might actually be holding an Omen of Slaughter and second-guessing whether or not they want to use the sorcery speed removal here. And notably, Omen is better while we have 1 creature. Even if Final Fate can't kill a 3-drop in the blind. At least from hand, anyways. They are going to tap 2. They are going to go for the Final Fate here. So Tatsuko down. And they do have the turn 3 removal spell available to them. We pick up... oh, sorry, these should be untapped. We do pick up another land here, which is unfortunate. We're going to go Kieran of Boons, Urban Jungle tapped, and pass. And we are reaching the Igneous Visions stage of the game. Does not feel amazing. Opponent is thinking. The dream here is my opponent is looking at a bunch of 2-drops and preferably a bunch of 4s and 5s, really, and no 3rd land drop. If we can get our opponent to stumble, that is going to buy us the window we need to start pushing. I will say, sitting here in Game 3, while we did have Game 1 really go how we wanted it to, that last game, and especially how this one has started, Mono Black Control is such a nightmare matchup in my eyes for this deck, even with the sideboarding plan that we went into with Game 3 of like, well, I don't think we really can change anything. It's the basis of, we need to be focused on just trying to put stuff on board and turn it sideways as much as possible, as fast as possible. but the nature of our opponent's deck is that their win condition is to take care of every single threat we present, take us off the board again and again and again, and then turn the corner with a land and a board wipe that gains them life. It sucks. It sucks to have to fight against. It was the most nail-biting match in my league run with this deck before the tournament began. And that's with my league run being 4-1 and having won against mono black control. But it was still a nail biter, still a very tough matchup to fight through. And we're seeing that exactly here, where, you know, opponent on the mulligan, us on the play, just kind of hoping we can tiptoe around what our opponent has going on. Opponent does tap 2. We may have lucked out here. Our opponent may not have the third land. Is this going to be another Final Fate? Is this going to be an Omen of Slaughter? Opponent untaps. That tells me it's an Omen of Slaughter. So we're going to untap, draw, pick up another Menelea, really the last place we want to be right now. Alrighty. I think we lead on Igneous Visions. We could lead on just swinging 2. That's not outside the realm of possibility. See if we can just force our opponent to pick off the Kieran now. The downside here is if we Igneous Visions and hit a Spirit Realm Phoenix, we don't get to get in with the Spirit Realm Phoenix. Similar with Calamity Cat, if we hit Calamity Cat, we don't get to get in with Cat plus Menelea. So I think I'm going to lead on the Igneous Visions. See if the opponent has a response here. Opponent says K. Come on, deck. We're going to play that as land for turn. We are going to go to combat. See if they have the Omen. They do have the Omen. All right. Main 2, we just run out Menelea. And this is the same outcome as if we had... I guess there was really no harm to casting the... Oh, no, actually, if they wanted to wait on the Omen of Slaughter as long as possible, the harm is we don't get in for 2. But I guess, you know, if they really just want to not take damage, they can Omen of Slaughter there. Don't love being on 6 lands in the top 12. I guess top 11, because we did Primal Fissure on turn 1. And I specifically cracked it because I wanted to try and minimize the lands we could draw. Passed unresolved. Please draw 2 and then mill 2 lands and then not make a land drop. That's a swamp milled. All that remains milled. They took 2. Menelea's in. This means Menelea gets to connect for a turn. Oh, we really need to see our opponent just pass here. We've had some rough draws here. I need my opponent to experience a bit of this luck. Opponent's thinking. Oh, they did have the third land. So they just get to hold up all that remains here. We're going to untap. We're going to draw Shiori the Trickster. Igneous Visions. We're just going to exile now. Frolicking Tatsuko. We're going to play Mountain from hand. Run out the Tatsuko. We could bank the Menelaya here for a turn. So that way we can put the counters on Tatsuko and Menelaya. No, because if they hit another land drop, they can just go Chronicle and ruin our day. So I think we do have to not give them the chance to ruin our day. And I think we do have to Menelaya now. So that's 2 counters on each. We go to combat. We swing for 4. And we pass. And we're on board. They do have face-up removal. They did not all that remains. I wonder if they forgot. So they have Final Fate available here. They can pick off Menelaya. They can pick off Frolicking Tatsuko. The big pain point there for me is they meant to do an end step thing, and they have not done their draw for turn. So I'm cool with them just doing it. I commented that this was something I saw them holding up here. So they flashback all that remains. Pitch another past unresolved. That makes sense. You really don't want the damaging draw spells right now. I really need my opponent to be in an awkward spot here. We've got 9 power on the board. That is an awkward spot in its own right, but I need my opponent to be in a much more awkward spot. Opponent says, that's a good sign. Hopefully it's a because they have putting a Swamp Chronicle of Extinction into bin's really scary. I hope that's because it was a land. It was double land Chronicle of Extinction, and they just had to take the land there. Because we put our creatures out of range of Chronicle. Them binning the Chronicle of Extinction makes me feel very valid for going for the Menelaya line. I will just say that outright. Dear Lord, if we had held Menelaya for Shiori and then watched them hit Chronicle off of the All That Remains there, that would have been heartbreaking. So they did put Swamp into play. Could have already been in their hand, could have been their draw for turn, could have been what they hit off of the All That Remains here. Let's move the graveyard so it's more clear whose is whose. I mean, they can just Final Fate the Frolicking Tatsuko, right? Like, it's not something I'm super thrilled to see have happen, but it's something they can just do. There's really nothing we can do about it. That takes 5 damage off the board. Sure, it leaves them open to taking 4 from Menelaya, but just taking out the Tatsuko takes a lot of pressure out of play. Opponent says they are thinking, and that is not a good sign. Whew. I think I have said this in a chat prior to this current season. I think I said it in March in the GP chat of there is a certain value to hearing me constantly talk about how much I dislike Chronicle of Extinction and playing the card against me purely for the tilt equity. Because I will admit, I'm sitting here thinking about what I can do, and there's a tiny part of my brain that is going, I can't stand the fact that they have Chronicle of Extinction. Like, God, this matchup would be far less frustrating for me if they did not have Chronicle of Extinction available to them. This card truly is, in a lot of ways, the bane of my existence. Opponent tapping 3. I really hope this is just for Final Fate. I don't love them removing one of my things, but I like it more than whatever they could have going on in their hand. So 3 mana, they are flashing back Final Fate. Menelea or Tatsuko? They're going to hit the Tatsuko. Alrighty. Well, that means we do get a turn unfettered, undeterred by whatever they have going on. And we pick up another Tatsuko. Well, this is awkward. I think we just run out the Tatsuko, hold the other 2 cards. Because at this point, I want to loot this to a Fabricated Anomaly if I can. And this I just want to play at their end step. Or in response to discard. I think discard spell getting Mountain out of my hand is a bummer, but I would much rather it be in my graveyard than on the battlefield. This is not a situation I am in where I'm really looking to make a 6th land drop. Opponent taps 2. Epid calls for Zangy. I'm not sure what's happening here. You have syntax error on Menelea. Remove a +1/+1 counter from another creature you control. That creature gain indestructible. There's no S. Oh, now I understand why you're calling Zangy. Man, Menelea being able to give herself indestructible here would be great, but unfortunately she took a bullet for mono green Stompy Sins. Despite other cards having gotten hit to put mono green Stompy out of contention. Opponent goes for Exorcist of Errors. We're just going to go Shiori the Trickster in response. No cards in face up pile. Epid asks if it's a land. It sure is. Yeah. So Exorcist whiffs. If we can find something to start putting counters into play off the top here, we are in the mood for a dream. Show me Fabricated Anomaly. I think that's the best thing we could hit here. Because we could Fabricated Anomaly, loot away the land, swing with Tatsuko, Shiori, Menelea. Opponent says, joke's on you. Uh-oh. Joke's on us. Oh, they're going to hit Menelea with removal. Forced Shutdown. Lose 2. Wow, they boarded in Forced Shutdown because that's not in their main. They boarded in the removal that hurts them. Sure. Fabricated Anomaly. Fabricated Anomaly off the top. Please. Please. There is no justice in the universe. Yep. That sure is our 7th land. or 8th land, really, because Primal Fisher. But yeah, this is a bummer. This is not how I wanted this game to go. Opponent hits the 5th land, and now we're just screwed because they can just mop us up however they please. Path of Phenax. We're just gonna say K. So these 2 lands in hand are goodbye. Waiting for them to put the counter on there. We're just gonna hold until they put the first chapter counter on Path of Phenax. Chapter counter? There we go. Move top cards to graveyard. Top 2. We hit Fabricated Anomaly, Urban Jungle. Bye, Fabricated Anomaly. We totally didn't need you. Exorcist of Errors number 2. Sure thing. And this is bad. This is bad. We really needed that Fabricated Anomaly. We will draw Spirit Realm Phoenix. Can start getting in over the top. I would have much rather milled this and gotten the Fabricated Anomaly, but this is still something. This at the very least offsets the life gain they're about to get with Path of Phenax. So we ship in for 2. But yeah, this has been a bit of a beating here. We take 2, they gain 2. Fabricated Anomaly off the top right now, if they can't put our board into check, is amazing. Unfortunately, a single Chronicle of Extinction ends the game. So not only are we in a position where a board wipe could completely checkmate us, we're in a position where the board wipe that could checkmate us is my least favorite card in the format, which is truly an awful position to be in. So you know what's about to happen. You can see the writing on the wall. We both know what's coming. They're going to go to combat. I don't like that they're swinging 4. That tells me they're doing this before Chronicle of Extinction makes them 0 power. I hate being a prophet. All right. Board wiped. We untap. We draw. I'm going to pack it up. That is too many lands. I'm not playing this out. They get to Path of Phenax, take Fabricated Anomaly from our graveyard. Oh, good God. Yeah, no, this was going to be unplayable. Unplayable game. Yeah, get me out of here. Oh, that sucked so much. That sucked so much. I need medicine. Well, we're not out of it. We could still get it to top cut. It just means that there's some tension going into round 4 because it's not a guarantee that we get into top cut right now. Do I wish things had gone better? In a million ways, yes. But we roll with what we're dealt. We do not exactly have the sideboard tuned to really beat this matchup. I don't think there's a sideboard we could possibly build for this deck that wins this matchup, being quite honest. We can't really lean on... There aren't really many good Planeswalkers we could lean on. Even if there were, I don't really think that's going to be something that could meaningfully help us in this matchup. We can't really run non-creatures too much because we don't want to be off foreign counter hits. it's just a matchup that's just always going to be tough for us. So, yeah, we'll see how round 4 shapes up. This is your annual reminder. Play Chronicle of Extinction against me. It's going to get tilt equity. And I'll see you all in round 4.